The Matt Gaetz sacrificial lamb is not going to save Pete Hegseth. He's not going to get confirmed if we have our way and we put enough pressure on the process to be the next Secretary of Defense. We've got new information that's out there about things that he has said and written in books, things that he has said and written about women in the military, the role of men in leadership, all making him wholly unfit to serve as the leader of the Department of Defense. And I'm going to tell you who to watch in this particular hot take. Watch Senator Joni Ernst, Republican. We also refer to her occasionally as Lieutenant Colonel Joni Ernst, and her questioning in the Senate confirmation hearing. I'm Michael Popok. You're on the MeidasTouch Network and Legal AF. If Hegseth and Trump thought that Gaetz going away noisily and withdrawing his nomination in almost record time was going to save Hegseth, think again. All it's done is that we have new reporting, new information, new leaks, new emphasis on how wildly inappropriate and unfit to be the head of the Department of Defense, Pete Hegseth from Fox and Friends, actually is. First, we heard last week, this is the drip, 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 then I'll turn to Joni Ernst in a minute. First, we heard that he was accused of rape, sexual abuse, sexual assault in California, 2017, entered into a non-disclosure agreement and paid off that victim. His lawyers took to the airwaves, represented by Tim Parlatore, who used to represent Donald Trump in the Mar-a-Lago case until he quit Donald Trump. Tim Parlatore took to Breitbart and threatened the victim on behalf of Hegseth and Trump, effectively, and said that she was the aggressor, right? That Hegseth got raped by the woman, and that if she came out against her and breached her non-disclosure agreement, they were going to sue her, right? To try to intimidate her from ever testifying. He even said if she tried to testify at the Senate confirmation hearing, they would go after her. That sounds like obstruction of justice and witness tampering. Now, that's not Hegseth's only problem. Besides the fact that, he's on his third marriage. First marriage ended after he cheated on his first wife with his second wife. I mean, he's got a trail of women that he's abused and used and cheated on all along the way. But let's focus on a new reporting about books that Hegseth has written in the last 14 years with his Fox celebrity. In particular, one as recently as 2020 called An American Crusade, right? And it's one in which he envisions a likely civil war. This is not a novel. This is his thinking and teachings. Hegseth envisions a future civil war where the army and the military have to take sides to be used against other Americans for bloodshed in the streets. It's an apocalyptic vision consistent with his Christian right-wing nationalism. That's why he's covered in all sorts of crusade tattoos, the Jerusalem cross, and God wills it, all sorts of other tattoos that relate to the Crusades. He's so into the Crusades, the original Crusades, that he has a title for one of his speeches that he gave was about Make the Crusades Great Again, in which he gave a speech that the Republicans and MAGA should crush, humiliate, and intimidate leftist opponents. He's talking about other Americans. Crush, humiliate, and intimidate them, calling them the enemy within. Now you know where Donald Trump got his cheat sheet from for all of his rallies and speeches towards the end of the campaign. Came out of the fevered mind and the weird stew of Pete Hegseth. Now he's also said other things that are going to get him in trouble when he's being asked questions in the confirmation process, including by Lieutenant Colonel Ernst. Now he has said publicly that women should not be in combat roles in the military. Let me let that land for a minute. Talking about stealing someone's valor. Women who for the last almost 35 or 40 years have served and died and been wounded and injured on behalf of America, the greatest sacrifice, not to Pete Hegseth. To Pete Hegseth, they have no role being there. He believes in male hegemony, males dominating in leadership every position of power, every one. So between that and how his opinions on abortion, which include denying military personnel the ability who are in red states and bases to travel to blue states in order to have reproductive health rights, he's against that as well. But I can't wait to Lieutenant Colonel Joni Ernst, who served with distinction overseas as part of the National Guard deployed in Iraq. I can't wait till she starts interrogating Hegseth. And when Hegseth goes around to try to get votes, being escorted by his chaperone, J.D. Vance, when Lieutenant Colonel Ernst interrogates Major Hegseth about his belief that the Posse Comitatus Act, which has been on our books since the Civil War period and our Reconstruction, which bans the U.S. military's use on domestic soil for domestic policy reasons, which is exactly what he's calling for in his books. And I want to see his reaction. Well, let's go through your chapters in the American Crusade and the statements and comments that you made there. Do you still stand behind these? This was not a novel, sir. This is not fiction. This wasn't found in the historical fiction section of our local bookseller. This was your belief, your philosophy. Now let's turn to your Christian nationalist beliefs, which, look, the people that he follows believe that there needs to be an apocalypse, the coming days, in order for the sinners to go to hell and everybody else to go to heaven, and for the reestablishment of heaven on earth. Is this who I want running the Department of Justice? the Department of Defense? Sorry, I had Gates on the mind. The Department of Defense, the person with his finger near the finger of the nuclear button to start World War III. I thought the purpose of the Department of Defense was to prevent World War III, not to cause it for some biblical prophecy to come true. Traditional bed sheets, they can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat. It can lead to acne, allergies, and stuffy noses, and it's just gross. Miracle Made offers a whole line of self-cleaning, antibacterial bedding, such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent up to 99.7% of bacteria growth and require up to 3 times less laundry. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather, so you get better sleep every night. Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands, and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo, LegalAF, at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf and use the code LegalAF to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/legalaf to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. Hegseth's got a lot to talk about. Sex crimes, as alleged, are the least among them. From what I can see about his unfitness to be the commander-in-chief's commander. And as I said, if Donald Trump, one thing Donald Trump learned from the Gates debacle is that there is no political will, as expressed by Joni Ernst, by John Cornyn, by Susan Collins, by Lisa Murkowski, by at least a half a dozen other Republican senators, to allow the Senate to be the president's lapdog. They're not going to allow him to stab the Constitution in the back and take the Senate out in the back and shoot it and make it go on immediate recess appointment. Everybody, we all gone fishing. so that Donald Trump can do recess appointments and slam through his cabinet, subject to a challenge of the United States Supreme Court. Catch me if you can. So we have acting heads of the Department of Defense, Department of Justice, judges, military intelligence, and all of that for 2 years without Senate confirmation or public hearing. There's no will for that. That's one thing he learned, because if he could have done it, he would have done it to save the Gates nomination, right? And so he's not going to do it, which means the power has now shifted back where it belongs, in the hands of the Senate. And the Senate is taking it seriously. And the Senate Republicans are taking it seriously. And Joni Ernst is taking it seriously. Look at her background. She wanted to be, and she would have been a great pick, by the way, to be the Department of Defense Secretary instead of Hegseth. Everybody wanted Joni Ernst. Joni Ernst wanted it. Lieutenant Colonel Senator Joni Ernst wanted it. She got passed over because until Donald Trump picked Pam Bondi, his top 4 were all white guys. I mean, even Marco Rubio for the top 4 cabinet positions, and the women were relegated to the kids' table for cabinet posts. So she got passed over. I'm sure she didn't feel great about that. She got passed over again in the Senate about a week ago when she wanted the number 3 position in leadership in the Senate, the whip, the vote whip. She didn't get it. But now she's going to get her due, right? Because she's going to take a shiv to these outlandish cabinet picks. And she's let it be known. I mean, one of the major reasons that Gates saw that he had no path to confirmation is because he met with Cornyn and he met with Ernst. And they said, you have no path to confirmation. We're not going to ignore the sex allegations, which have now multiplied, by the way, since, and I'm sure they will. It's sort of like Tiger Woods. Remember, there was like one woman who came out against him. By the time the month was over, you had to have a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet to keep track of all the women. It was like 56 women against him. Well, now that the ceiling has been broken and the seal has been broken, we're going to get more allegations against Matt Gaetz, which is going to completely burn his career beyond all recognition. You won't be able to identify him with dental records. That's where we are with him. And again, I want to compliment and celebrate this community here on Legal AF and on the MeidasTouch Network, because we talked about the things you can do. Every state's got 2 senators. Get on the phone, get on the email, get on social media, put pressure on your social medias, put pressure through social media on your senators to oppose these obscenely unqualified, unfit picks for these various cabinet roles. Others are going to get through. I mean, I don't blow smoke or sunshine here. Pam Bondi's going to get confirmed. As I said jokingly in another video, at this point after Gates, a chimpanzee wearing a diaper and smoking a cigarette would get confirmed as the Attorney General. As long as he doesn't have a sex crime report against him. So she's flying through. Right? The Deputy Attorney General getting confirmed, Solicitor General getting confirmed. But we gotta draw the line, right? Commerce Secretary is going to get confirmed, probably EPA, although that's a little bit dicier. But RFK Jr. to run 40% of the American budget and have his hands on all those levers of power about health and science? I'm not so sure about that. We're going to put the crosshairs on him next. And on Dr. Oz for Medicare and Medicaid, really? And Tulsi Gabbard, who's effectively a Russian asset for military intelligence. I mean, for Director of Intelligence. No. We just have to say no. It worked with Gates. Keep it up. Keep it up. The maelstrom, the firestorm of public denouncement helped bring down Gates, as did the reporting around it and the attention that we kept on it within just 6 days' time. Went from, well, the report's not coming out at the House Ethics Committee to, who cares? We're getting our information from other people, including the witnesses and the leaks and the reporting and the receipts and the Venmo and the checks. Give us time. We'll get to the bottom of it, right? It's like a string on your sweater, right? Well, once you pull that string, by the time the day is over, you're half naked. We'll continue to make people half naked as we criticize those that deserve to be criticized and hold and speak truth to power here on Legal AF, the MeidasTouch Network. So until my next report, here on the MeidasTouch Network, MeidasTouch's Legal AF podcast, Wednesdays and Saturdays, or over on our new channel, Legal AF, the YouTube channel, at Legal AF MTN for MeidasTouch Network. I'm Michael Popok, and I'm reporting. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.